Welcome to M Science TV. Do subscribe to keep watching my videos. So today we are going to study molecules and compound. We are going to study the meaning of those terms and also some examples of molecules and compounds. So let's start by studying the meaning of molecule. Molecule is a group of two or more atoms held together by chemical bonds. So here, molecule meaning that formed when there is a combination of two or more atoms and also held together by the bond or the force between those atoms. As you know, we have different types of chemical bond, where we have ionic bond, covalent bond, or metallic bond. But here, molecules is formed by ionic bond or covalent bond. So, and also molecules can be composed of the same element or different element. So it means that molecules can be formed into two forms, where molecules can be formed with the same element, like oxygen gas, where we have two oxygen atoms combined together to form oxygen gas. And also we have the molecules formed by different elements, like water, where you have two elements, hydrogen and oxygen. So atoms in a molecule are linked by shared or transferred electrons, forming covalent or ionic bond. So as I said, the molecules are formed by the combination of two or more atoms, but with bond or a force between them. So those forces, as I said, we have covalent and ionic bond, but also for covalent bond there is a share of electron, and also for the ionic bond we have the transfer of the electrons from the metal to non-metal. But for the covalent, as is formed between non-metals, there is a share between those non-metals. So examples of molecules, we have water. So water is a molecule because there is a combination of two elements, hydrogen and oxygen. So for the water molecules, two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom bonded together. So it means that the water to be formed, there is a combination of two elements, hydrogen and oxygen. As I said, there is two forms of molecules where they can be formed by the same element or different elements. So water is formed by two different elements, hydrogen and oxygen. So for oxygen gas, another example, two oxygen atoms bonded together. So oxygen gas to be formed, there is a combination of two oxygen atoms. So it means that for these molecules there is a combination of the same element. But for water, as I said, there is a combination of different elements. And also you have carbon dioxide formed by one carbon atom and two oxygen atom bonded together. So it means that for carbon dioxide there's a combination of different elements, carbon and oxygen atom. So also for the carbon dioxide there is combination of different atoms or different elements. For glucose also there is a combination of different elements where you have 6 carbon, 12 hydrogen and 6 oxygen atom. So because glucose to be formed there are many atoms used, like 6 carbon, there are many, 12 hydrogen and also 6 oxygen. So this molecule is large because we have many atoms. And also all the atomic are molecules. So we have those molecules which are diatomic. We have hydrogen, nitrogen, fluorine, oxygen, iodine, chlorine and bromine. So these diatomic are molecules. So are the molecules with combination of same or similar atoms. So and also you have the compounds. So we can start by studying the meaning of the compound. Compound is a substance formed when two or more different elements are chemically bonded together. So it means that for the compound is formed when two or more different elements combined. So the difference with the molecules is a combination regardless if the atoms combined are similar or different. But for the compound there is a combination of different elements, not similar elements that are going to be combined. And also atoms to be combined to form a compound, also there is a force that are formed between those atoms. As I said, there is ionic bond or covalent bond. This bond can be ionic or covalent, as I said, and the resulting compound has a fixed ratio of elements. So if the atom or an element is going to be combined with another atoms, so they form a compound but with a fixed ratio of those atoms or those elements. Like when carbon react with oxygen and form carbon dioxide, there is a ratio between carbon and oxygen, and the ratio between carbon and oxygen to form carbon dioxide is 1:2, because we have 1 carbon atom and 2 oxygen atom. When the elements combine, some individual property of the element is lost and newly formed compound have new properties. So here it means that when an element combines with another element to form new substance or compounds, so the atoms or those elements that are going to react or to combine, some they lose some properties. Like when hydrogen react with oxygen, those atoms of hydrogen and oxygen, they lose their some properties to form the new properties of the compound, that is H2O. We call that compound water. So they lose their some properties and get the properties of that new compound formed, which is water. compounds are represented by their chemical formula. So when the element combined together to form new substance or to form a compound, they form that compound in their chemical formula. So it means that compound, they are represented or symbolic by some chemical formula. A chemical formula is a symbolic representation of the proportions of atoms that constitute a particular chemical compound. So it means that the chemical formula is a symbol that represents the proportion of the atoms that made that particular compound. Like when we react hydrogen and oxygen and also form water, or when carbon react with oxygen and form carbon dioxide, so that carbon dioxide is written in the symbol of CO2. So that compound of CO2 is written according to the proportion or the ratio between that carbon and the oxygen, as we write CO2. So it means that that symbol is a symbol that represent that proportion between those atoms which form that compound. So we have two types of compounds. We have organic compounds and also we have inorganic compounds. So for organic compounds are the compounds primarily characterized by the presence of carbon and hydrogen, often forming carbon-hydrogen bond, and are typically found in living organisms. So for organic compounds are the compounds primarily characterized by the presence of carbon and hydrogen. So it means that all organic compounds contain the carbon and hydrogen atom, always contain carbon and hydrogen atom, and also always forming the carbon-hydrogen bond, and also are typically found in living organisms. So all organic compounds, they are found in the living organisms. Inorganic compounds do not necessarily contain carbon or hydrogens and are found in non-living things like minerals, metals, and the atmosphere. So it means that for inorganic compounds are compounds which are not necessarily contain carbon or hydrogens. It means that for inorganic compounds they can be formed without having carbon or hydrogen atom. But for organic, primarily contain carbon hydrogen atom. And also for inorganic compounds, they can be found in non-living things like minerals, metals, or atmosphere. So examples of some commonly used compounds and their molecular formula. So those are some examples of the compounds. We have alcohol. For compound formula of alcohol, we have C2H6 and oxygen. We have 2 carbons, 6 hydrogen, and 1 oxygen. For acetic acid, compound formula is C2H4O2. It means that 2 carbons, 4 hydrogens, and 2 oxygens. And we have sulfuric acid, we have 2 hydrogen, 1 sulfur, and 4 oxygen, H2CO4. Ammonia, you have NH3, 1 nitrogen, and 3 hydrogen. And you also have methane. You have 1 carbon and 4 hydrogen, CH4. And you have nitrous oxide. You have, that is for compound formula, N2O, 2 nitrogen and 1 oxygen. So we have SAT. Example, this is the table salt where we have. So according to this compound, the ratio is 1 sodium atom and 1 chlorine atom. So thank you for watching. Do subscribe, likes, share, and comment.